maiden mother.
In this particular one,
So that would be her mother.
no. But you see, I think that he got confused when they asked him, and he said his mother's name, his
Yes.
mother,
Started
instead
off that
of
way.
her mother.
Yeah.
That's what I think when
Yeah,
I looked
could
at
be.
this. And then again, birthplace of mother, Virginia, not sure. I guess they wanted counted, but I didn't know. But my point was, though, Steve gave the information for his mother, and it says Mary. And then when William died, Baz gave the information, and he says, name of father Thomas Brown, maiden name of mother not known.
Okay, but now
And
here,
when
this
that-
has Mary Glasscock here
Yeah.
as,
And Arthur
Baz.
gave the information. So you have to remember who's giving the information.
I know.
That's where it's confusing. They all had their own idea of who was who.
but, oh, I don't know. Now I'm confused too, because in Arthur's obituary, it said that his mother's maiden name was Handback.
See?
In his own obituary, well, of course, which was
Which was
supplied by-
given by somebody
by
else.
somebody else.
You always have to remember that there's somebody giving that information.
I would have thought Louise probably would have given the information for Uncle Arthur.
You already have this?
Not necessarily.
You have that in your packet.
Yeah.
I think I gave them a packet too.
I don't know, but
And then, did you see this when you
Luffert's
went
News?
to the courthouse the other day?
No, I didn't.
I think I got that at the courthouse, I think.
No, I did not see that. And then Luffert's News.
And I looked in 1914, there was no mention of Mary. So I guess they just didn't record anything about her death.
On here, when you're going through to try to get it together, and I was going to do that and I hadn't done it. Well, I think that's probably the end of that one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, here it is. Continued on page 5.
Mm-hmm.
Ignore the line. Sometimes it's copied lines and it shouldn't have. Continue on page 5. Well, your page 5 is connected here. So if you wanted to cut it and put it all on one big sheet, you could.
Right.
And here, now this is the continuation on page 5, but you want to find more of this. You're going to have to sort of read because of alleged attention paid Cooper's wife by Brown.
Mm-hmm.
So that continued from there and went down and ended there, I think. No, it didn't either. Well, there's one that even goes continued to page 7. No, okay, that's the end of that one because that's stapled up.
Okay.
But that's the end of that article. Continue on page 2. And Cooper May plead, okay. And I guess that's the end of that one. Okay, the article was a stapled, okay.
Well, Baz had been in another ruckus before this, right?
Yeah, and I copied that, got that one too. Did you get that one, 1931, when he was in that ruckus?
No.
The first time they
The
killed him.
first time.
No.
Well, no.
Yeah.
The first time they,
I think the one where the headline says Baz Brown slain. That's the only one we've got, I think.
Mm-hmm.
okay. No, there's another, state to rely on Cooper and fixing Gilden Brown death. Page 2. Okay, and it goes on down to here. Okay. Continued on page, oh no, wait a minute, that's something else. Okay, that was the end of that one. LTM stands for Loudon Town's Mirror, that's where it came from. And the date of the mirror, the paper. Okay, and then here's, this is one of them where they got sentenced to 15 years in prison for the Barnells.
Do you have that? No, I don't know that.
No,
I
but
don't
you
have,
do either.
I don't have any of this.
Okay, okay, that's
A lot of it
Brown
goes
Slade.
down.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of it is over and over, but when I was doing all the copying, I wasn't sure. there's one here that's sort of confusing.
How long after he was killed did it take them to make a case and put those people in jail?
Oh, just a few months.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
not
is that
years
right?
like it is now.
It wasn't long.
No, it wasn't long. Continue on page 6.
But no one knows how long he was in the service.
He went,
Page 1.
I think, in 1917, so he wasn't there long.
He went in service in 1917, got killed 1934.
Is this the article
Well,
you
they sent him
got?
home because he got
Lee
gassed,
Brown
right?
killing. You had the Richard Cooper next
Yeah,
to
he got a
story.
pension.
That's
This
what-
here's the one that's
Brownie
really
always told
interesting.
me. He said
It
he got
tells,
mustard gas.
Is that what it was? It
Yeah.
didn't say in there, but it
It
did say.
tells
that.
about
Burned
the
his
brutal
lungs
murder,
up.
how,
Okay.
and who the jurors was that served on the jury.
Mm-hmm.
And so that one I think you'll find quite interesting.
No, this is the one we have. This is
That's
all,
all.
this is the only one that we
Okay.
have.
I missed page 7 of that the first time I went in there, so I went back in and got it. So many pages. You can tell by yours and how you have to follow through.
Right. And
Yours
now-
isn't a copy, it's
now
the
those-
actual
oh, no,
newspaper.
Those came from, these are
You
from the
sure?
courthouse,
Part of a
the
copy.
certificate of
Yeah,
death?
that's
Okay.
the certificate of the
I
courthouse.
thought you had
This
that.
is the Blue Ridge Herald from
Seems like-
Percival,
It seems like.
this one,
Mhm.
which basically is like what's in the Loudon Times Mirror, I
Yeah.
think.
Of course.
What was that? Oh, this is about the sale of the property, I think. And gives the name of Basil, Olivia, and Agnes as to being notified. I don't know. Anyway, it's something about the sale of the property. It was in with where I found the.
Is this Baz's? Yeah,
Yeah,
34.
he had an acre, see, up there that was next to Mary and Williams' property. It was altogether, it was like 50 acres or 50 and 3/4 or something. A war veteran slain near Waterford. I don't know if you've got that one or not.
Never
It's
seen
hard to
that.
read. I don't know. I was just copying it to see what.
That's interesting. Oh, now this is Mary's real estate.
I've got some other real estate back here, but I didn't think it's really much on.
This is for Mary's real estate. I wonder if she left it to Baz, and then when she died, no, when he died, then they fought over it. Because it's Agnes Olivia Emery, who was
I didn't
Olivia's
copy this
husband
for
at
you,
the
but
time.
if you want, I can
Stilson
make
H.
copies
Hall,
of this.
administrator of Basil A. Brown, deceased, versus Arthur, Stephen, Virginia, Henry, Jacqueline, Lena, Benjamin Cross, Dorothy Truax, Homer Truax, Annie Colvin, Will Colvin, Mildred Brown, and Basil A. Brown Jr., the last two being under the age of 21. And then it's talking about the object of this suit is for a partition if practicable. If not, a sale of the whole of the certain tracts or parcels of real estate of which the late Mary L. Brown died, deceased, containing 50 1/3 acres.
Yeah, I think there was a big uproar when they sold that piece of property. See, Anna didn't get a copy of it. That's the way we understand it.
Yeah, she didn't get notified, and
Sent
they
it
would
to
have
her.
come up
Oh.
and maybe bought it. And so ever since then, her and Uncle Arthur and the other one that lived down here, what's his name?
See, what you need to do
Did
is,
not really speak.
you need to go back to the courthouse and look in the deed book to see the particulars.
Well, I've got the
Of
particulars
that.
here, I think.
Okay.
I didn't copy them for you, but I can copy them if you want. This here's the commissioner's sale. If you want a copy of it, I'll make it. I can go back and make it.
That's
I was, Arthur Brown and Henry Brown, Jack. Okay, here's probably the copy that you're talking about.
Yeah,
Is it?
I think so.
Okay.
There's a Georgia in here.
Oh, really?
Do you have this one? You probably, I thought you probably had that one, because you mentioned it to me about the middle name, L was in the,
Yeah, I do have this one.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I do.
if you're not sure, I'll make it, just to be sure.
Yeah, this is, you're right, this does
Who
go
was
with
T.F.
that.
Mason?
Somebody that lived up there in the mountain. I've
Mm.
heard the Masons, your mom mentioned Masons, and you, I think I have.
Maybe you have, not me.
Well, maybe I've been reading it on there, maybe that's where I'm getting it from. I don't know, I get confused.
Well, did Mary have money?
I don't know anything about
Well, you know,
that.
that, the big tombstone up there, that's hers, right?
That's, yeah, let's put it
Wait.
for
Up in
him.
the cemetery, well, that's the biggest,
But that, I think she and William are buried under that together, because both their names are on it.
Yeah, well, they added her name to it. I remember that since I've been
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
family. Uncle Steve came down one time, and him and Pop Ben went over to Frederick and saw this guy that came, you know, the tombstone place that came over and engraved her name on it. Her name was never put on it.
What'd they end up
Until-
selling that land for?
$300 and some,
Is that right?
which got
Man, even-
reimbursed.
That
Got
was
reimbursed
the
and
trees
everything.
up there. They were so
Arthur and
tall and so
Rule had put
straight.
up money for
I mean,
Basil's funeral.
huge trees, even today, you know
So
what I mean?
Arthur
Yeah.
got back the money that he had put up, which was $200 and some, deducted from the sale, because he didn't have to pay it, because he had put up money for Basil's funeral. Rule put up money too, but it didn't say anything about him getting his money back. So I don't know how that went. You want a copy of this?
Yeah, I would like
Okay.
a copy of that,
And
and
that too?
that over there, yeah,
Okay.
that too.
Have you got
Yes.
that?
Do you have that?
No,
Okay.
no, I don't
Let
have
me see what I
that stuff.
can do back here.
Oh, she's got her own copy
Oh,
machine.
my.
I want one.
You need one, Debbie.
I do, you're right, I do.
She went in 2 or 3 days and they're messing in there, you know. But yeah, she enjoyed it. You know,
Good.
If there's a, you know, once
It's
you find out something, she
very-
wants to dig into it, you know?
Very interesting.
I think your cat was scared when I came up to
You
the,
know, she won't,
Porch.
with us now, she, you know, it's fine, but other people, you know, she won't.
we got one like that too.
But she's a loving little thing, you know what I'm saying? See if she can go in and out,
Oh, that's
3D.
cool. That's
you know,
it's
in
got
and out.
its own little door.
Oh,
That's so cute. That's what our cats need.
But she can go in and out whenever she wants to, you know, come in, so.
What a lucky cat.
She's a nice kid.
The one we have is, one of them's black, he's all black with yellow eyes. And these people were driving by our house a few years ago, and they threw it out the window.
now,
of their
did
car
you
in
see
the neighbor's
this?
yard.
because
3 of
I
them.
got that
We kept
at the
one,
courthouse.
and the other 2 that we gave away. And
Yeah.
then the newest cat we got is a little skinny, kind of a multicolored cat. And we found her along the highway, all by herself, just
A little
in the
teeny
palm of my
kitten.
hand.
But you know, there was a folder that had
And
a
another
bunch
cat.
of stuff in
I
it,
found it at work.
including the bill
It doesn't have
of
no
like
tail.
his Basil's funeral
And I
expenses.
found him when he was a
It was
kid.
just in a brown like
And right now,
paper folder.
Mhm.
I don't know if
He
y'all
looks
saw
like
that
a-
tonight. And it had so much stuff in it. I mean, I
This
just
is-
so
he's-
random.
when he sits down on his belly,
But I
hands
mean,
over
I
his
looked
feet.
through it and just thought I
He's
took
real
out the
fat.
important stuff, you know?
He's
So
funny.
hopefully I did.
Yeah,
Whenever I read the newspaper,
No,
he comes
no, I
and
didn't see
lays
that.
down on
I've
the
got,
newspaper.
this is yours.
Oh,
Putting
okay,
it in,
thank you.
That's
in
why I
Oh,
kept
okay,
there, you know,
thank you
I'm-
very much.
Like you said, reading newspapers, you gotta read there.
I'm
you know?
scanning
Yeah.
back
They,
here.
they've got to get right in front of what you're doing. They do. They want
Man, I
attention.
had another cat, what, that, This one was straight too, she came here. I'll tell you what happened. Took her in there and had it operated on, so she wouldn't have kittens in there. They said, well, they wouldn't have to operate on them because she wasn't formed right or something. But anyway,
Oh my
Really?
they have to operate on
gosh.
it, yeah.
They give you money back?
I never heard
I'd
of
be
that
like, you guys took
happening.
that in there with them kids and said, look here, I want my money back.
I mean, that was terrible.
I got Pepsi, I got coffee, it's awful weak. I know it is, because I love this. I like my week.
Is that right? I'm good.
I'll take some Pepsi.
I'll take some Pepsi, yeah, thank you.
I will too.
Straight Pepsi, better have something.
Oh, she made this for me, but that's okay.
I like water.
We have good water.
I'll take the water.
Yeah.
Mountain water.
Before we come across the bridge on, what was that, 15? We saw some fellas walking out of the woods with bagfuls of mushrooms.
Do you go mushroom hunting?
I don't want mushroom. You?
We love them.
They're scarce around where we live at.
What's that about it?
Did somebody say they really want
Yes, I'll take some water.
Oh.
We had put more in there.
So that was Brownie's mother.
The eyes like that, the eyes that just look like it, like, just the dark eyes that look like beads or something.
Did you look at that picture?
I don't know. I don't look at that too long. Messes with me.
Our dentist has one in his dentist office.
Oh,
It's a great, it's a big tiger shark with his mouth open and all them teeth.
yeah.
And no toothbrush.
No toothbrush.
I remember when Mr. Conehead went to the dentist. Do you remember
Yeah.
that movie, Coneheads?
Yeah.
Oh, the girls watch that all the time. I love that movie.
And he says open, and there are all these teeth.
And
He
oh,
says,
you're like-
open wider, and his mouth gets and there's 3 rows of teeth.
Yeah, like a shark.
I know what you got in these things, these pictures and all that. I don't know what's what.
The last time I was here with Brownie, I might only came up once, maybe twice, I think twice. We went by somewhere and he said, well, that's where the Camp Woods was. You know where that's at?
Do you know where the foster home is? Where some of them were raised? The
Brown,
the
The
Brown
Brown farm.
farm.
the Brown home, not our Browns, but the other
The other
Brown
Browns, it
family.
was
He said they were no
Sally-
relation.
They were no relation.
No relation, but their name was Brown.
Now, is that the
It might be
place
over here, I'm not sure.
It's
Maybe
up that
not.
way.
along 15?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought it was north of here,
Yeah,
on the
okay.
west side of 15.
Uh-huh.
There's a
I've been there
farm
before,
over
but I
there.
can't remember how to get there.
There's a farm over there, and there's a little tomb. There's a little bunch of graves that
Right.
are out there.
Exactly.
And I looked for it coming down. I
I-
missed it.
The Brown, you know where they think.
Well, there must
some
be a
of them
stream
raised-
going through because there was a spring house
Oh,
close
yes.
to the house.
That's over.
I think it's the place,
The foster home.
yeah, where Moreland's,
Buddy on.
where Buddy owned, I think.
I think you're
Um,
right, but if that's
And we
the
went
case,
there to
somewhere
visit,
along
and there
there.
was some Mullins that lived in there. And the girl, who, this was after I was grown, so my dad was, older. And we went there and,
you did go
Agnes
there?
was with us. Yeah, but funny thing is, I just don't remember exactly how to get there.
Oh, I'm sure.
Come back over and there's all these new houses
Yeah.
and stuff and everything looks different. But the girl there that showed us around was so nice and everything, and her last name, she was married to a Mullins, and I forget her first
Okay.
name. It might have been Carolyn, but
Carol.
she
She's
ended up
passed
being.
away
I
now.
was gonna say she had wrote to my dad or something and said that right after that she came down with MS or something.
Yeah,
She was
David's
so
her husband.
nice. Those people
Yeah.
were so nice. They had a little boy.
Yeah, now her sister, I invited to come here today because her sister married Elwood's sister's son.
Is that right?
And they live right up the road here. So he, Sammy, is related to the Browns, and he was sort of interested in it. So I invited him to come down today to meet you all and to, you know, meet.
For heaven's sakes.
And they were supposed to call and let me know, but they never called me back. So
When
I
I was
figured
with
they got
him,
something else to do, you know. But
when I was with him that one time there, he said, well, this is the Camp Woods. And I asked him what the Camp Woods was. And he said his father, the other guy was in that picture, Baz's father told him that when he was younger, that during the Civil War, in this section of woods is where they had a camp. And that's why they called it the Camp Woods.
The
Could be.
And he said something about,
the Union soldiers.
Yeah, well, I think
Correct.
the first one that got killed was buried at the cemetery up here at the church. According to the guy that lived here next to the church, Mr. Barnhouse.
oh yeah,
He said that old cemetery up there, now there's no markings much left there, but there is still some tombstones. And a lot of the slaves that was buried in there too.
Uh-huh.
It's all grown up.
yeah, 'cause I didn't, you guys came up here for some kind of picnic or something, didn't you?
Yeah,
Church.
it was homecoming.
Yeah, I didn't have to work anything.
See that? But the homecoming at the church, oh, come on.
And the first
That's
Sunday in August.
At the church,
Used to
uh-huh.
be, but
We
I
came to
don't know that
several
is
of
anymore.
those, and you
Yeah.
came with us
Yeah, we
once or
came.
twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, it used to be a bunch of people come. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom's church still does that.
And people come from miles around.
They don't so much anymore, but that used to be people would go home
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
where they grew up and
Uh-huh.
went to church.
Uh-huh.
I got cake and cookies, and I don't know if you're
Oh,
gonna win
my
it.
goodness.
Oh my gosh.
Good thing we didn't order dessert.
Yeah. I'm gonna have this.
Oh, I think I'll have a cookie.
Well, more cake coming now.
I don't want a piece of cake, but I'll have one cookie.
I'm gonna come
You
back
want cake
here
with
more
no icing on
often.
it? Does anybody like it with no icing?
No, I'm on a diet, so.
Oh, okay. Well, that's why I have it with no icing.
me
Do you want a cookie?
Oh my gosh. That is so good.
Wait till you try that.
Oh my.
Hey, Debbie.
That's a pretty yummy cookie.
Huh.
Pardon my fancy napkins. I looked and I don't have
We
them.
use the same kind.
That's
Yeah, isn't that a
That's exactly right.
coincidence? Oh, you do have to try this cake.
Yeah, I'm getting this all messed up.
There is coffee.
It's
You're
crumbs
not-
on it.
Here, just stick it in the bag.
Mmm. That's my favorite kind of cake too.
have a piece.
You're-
Now,
oh,
He's on
This is
the
your
One
diet.
first
cookie?
time, first time at my house, you can have a piece of cake if you
Alright.
want.
Small piece.
Have a small piece.
Thank you.
Everybody get something to drink?
Mm-hmm.
Have to holler at this house.
Agree.
Really?
So they do kickboxing matches, and now he's involved in these with these wrestlers. And he's not a very big guy, but he picks these big 300-pound guys up, and throws them up in the air, and they get into it pretty much, and they have midget wrestlers there, and
Clowns,
clowns, and
women.
Yeah,
women
one-
wrestlers.
It's
one of them would
hilarious.
get killed.
He sells every
It's
show
all
out.
choreographed.
Oh,
He sells every show out though. The first couple he had, I mean, seats were, I thought they were kind of expensive,
Like $20 or something.
$25 and stuff like that
Mm.
for a reserve
And
seat.
people just love it. I guess it's all over, but you know.
He
people
sells
just
out
love it.
every one of them. Plus he has after school karate.
Well, no, please take care.
Yeah, she does. Go ahead and eat that.
Take it,
Man,
eat it.
I can't be like that.
Wow, here.
Look at this. No, it's okay, Lily.
So simple it was.
Oh my gosh. Does anybody want to like split this with me?
You won't have no problem.
Too sweet for me.
I'm a big eater.
Me too.
It must run in the family.
You want to fill up?
Yeah, I'll take them.
You always said Agnes was a big eater.
Agnes was a big eater.
I wish we could have seen her eat those ribs. We brought her in the hospital that time.
My oldest brother was a big eater. Never fat in his life.
She always had food all
That's
over
right, you know how some
her.
people can eat and eat and eat, and you know.
My oldest brother, I remember we were kids, my mom would make something,
Down the front of it.
and he'd make you sick
Thank
watching
you.
him eat. She used to make tacos once a week. He could eat like 20 tacos. And she'd make spaghetti, and he'd go back till that pan was empty. If she made a big salad, he overdid it all the time, but he was an athlete. He was always playing football or basketball or something like that.
Burning it off.
So he needed all that. Wow.
Want to fill up?
I'm fine, thank you.
Thank you. That's what I wanted.
The cookies are pretty good.
Have another.
I'm full.
I believe they have walnuts in them, don't they?
Or
I'm gonna
pecans.
have
think
another
they're,
one and I'll let you know.
Pecans are,
I think pecans maybe.
The mold is usually in that house. In the store there,
What, right next door?
the White House there.
You know, it's so funny because my dad used to talk about these names. Mullins was one of them. When he'd tell the stories about different people. I can't think now. I should have wrote
How
down.
about the spring? Up here,
Yeah.
Spring.
Mhm.
Who else used to live up in the mountains? Springs and.
Well, there was a black family he used to talk about. But I don't know what their last name was, but
You
there
remember
was,
Son Newman?
yeah, he used to talk about him. Do you remember? Do you know anything about the black family?
He black.
Son Newman's black, was black. And then do you remember the time that we went to this house and there were some black kids that were about our age
And we played with
and
them.
we played with them and it got dark and a real bad thunderstorm
And they
came
had
up.
fried chicken and chocolate cake.
Yeah.
She remembers the food.
When we were little, we played. I mean, we never really played with any black kids before.
Yeah.
And we had so much fun playing with these
And
black
it got
kids.
dark and I was out in the woods and it was pitch black and we'd go out and like on the porch and it was pitch black out there and these the black kids would look at us and all you could see were eyeballs and teeth.
Yeah. But they could see us and we were
They could
playing.
see us just fine. All we
Seems
saw were
like we were
eyeballs
playing
and teeth.
hide and seek, and they had unfair advantage.
Biggest
We
bad
kind of
job.
glowed in the dark. That wasn't fair. Now that I think about it. It's funny the stuff you remember, isn't it?
Did you build that house out there for that cat?
That's really cute.
She noticed it when we pulled up.
We'll come home lots of times and she'll be sitting in the house. Lots of times really make you feel bad, you know, she'll be peeking out that window like this. There, we'll come home and But you don't do anything to her. She'll let you, you know, look at her ears and her mouth, you know, she won't scratch.
Aww.
She's, you know, she's a good cat.
Some cats don't like that. They don't like to be messed with like that. The one cat we had, to take her to the vet to even get her to even get checked out, the vet had to put her in this thing that looked like a fish aquarium, and
Gassed her.
gassed her and knocked her out.
Cause she was mean
So
cat.
she could examine her, because I forget, she had something wrong with her. She was limping, and they x-rayed her legs and said that both of her front legs had been broken at one time or another. Probably
Somebody
from
gave her
jumping
to
down
us.
out of the tree.
Excuse me, because they moved into a place that didn't allow animals, and they had a kid that really picked on this cat, I guess. Just never would leave it alone. And she would be okay once in a while. You could pet her or something, but not very long.
She's mean,
Yeah.
Ginger.
And
I don't know if you remember her or not.
she'd disappear for a couple days at a time and come back, and she'd come in there to eat. She wouldn't even go to the bathroom in a litter box. She would go outside.
She was an
And,
outside cat.
She'd kill a rabbit and bring a dead rabbit up to the house every day. And then one day we came home and she was gone for a couple days, and I let her in and she jumped up on we put their food on the dryer so the dogs will stay away from it. And I got a little stool that I put it on and they eat there. Well, she was standing there and she said, meow. The next thing I know, she made another noise and she fell off the dryer and landed on the floor, and I thought she was dead. I don't know what happened to her. So I picked her up
She
and carried her
peed,
outside,
didn't
huh?
She peed on you.
Yeah, she peed on me. She lost everything. She was like, you know, I
We
thought she was dead
gone.
because she wasn't breathing or nothing. And I set her down outside and got to looking at her, and her eyes started blinking.
One of her lives just gave
and
out.
she got up and wanted back in the house, and I left her back in there. And she went out in this room we have out there. It's like pretty much like a storage room, actually. She went out there and laid down, and she slept for like 3 or 4 days. Then she was okay. And another time she came home with a big hole in her
A few
eyeball.
days.
And I thought
Yeah.
the boy next door shot her with a BB gun. But they said no, she probably jumped over something and got a stick poked in her eye.
Oh,
She was blind in her eye.
yeah.
And did we get her fixed, or
Oh, yeah, a long time ago.
was she already fixed?
No, we did it. We got
She
it.
wasn't. I'm a hateful cat now.
Well, that's the same one, we had another stray came here before this, and she got ran off, but I mean, sometimes you could pet her. The next time, boy, she'd strike you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the way she was. But this cat, she won't, she just,
And that's how a little cat is that we have. Sometimes I'll pet it. I don't know what to do. I think it's just trying to reach out and touch me or something. She's got razor sharp claws for a small cat. She got me here on the side of my face the other week. She got me somewhere else on my face about
Gonna scratch
2
your
weeks
hand
ago.
Probably from her.
That's from that gray cat yesterday.
The fat boy.
Yeah. He is immensely large. And she grabs that little cat. We have that new one. And my daughter, Ash, either one of them, she'll hold it like this, and that cat puts its arms around her
Well, the cat will like
and hugs her.
hold you like
puts
a
its head
monkey or a
down.
baby or
I've
something.
never seen a cat do it before.
And not scratch you, just like try to just and cuddle up to you and lay its head on your shoulder. I've seen a cat act like that before. It's like a monkey. Yeah, they're nice boys. Very sweet. They come to see me once in a while, and they're so gentlemanly. You know, they're very
well, that's
very nice
unusual for
boys.
nowadays.
I know.
It is.
It is. That's true. That's
No,
true.
I was in the waiting with Betty when down to the doctor yesterday, and I was sitting in there. I was waiting for her, you know, and there's a mother and a chair back to back. They were sitting here and I was sitting here. And you wouldn't believe the language that boy was talking his mother.
Oh,
I mean, you would not believe, you know.
I know. I know how kids are.
I mean, you know, language, words that I wouldn't think about using, you know. I mean, you know,
I know.
they terrible.
Kids are rude. Kids are very. They don't. You know. They don't have any respect. These boys are so nice.
It's interesting.
This is what she's, if you,
I mean, back in
Yeah,
these days, they
yeah,
went
she
in,
wants
they
me to
went
have
into
that
detail,
pile.
didn't they, on the whole
Yeah, they
story.
did. Yeah, they usually did do that pretty much. They almost sensationalized
Yeah.
things.
Oh yeah, they did. They did.
Well, that's big news around here.
I guess
Yeah,
so.
around here
I
it
guess
would
so,
Somebody
be.
yeah.
getting killed up in the mountain.
you're right, back then, darn right. I mean, today it don't mean nothing, does it, you know?
Yeah.
Every time you look at the news, I mean,
Look, look at that window there, Wendy. He's checking it
It's a
out.
peeping tom.
Look at him now.
Peeping tomcat.
she's a she.
Oh, it's a girl
They
because
call her,
yeah,
yeah.
Call her
calico.
old tomcat, she's a she.
That calicos are she's.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't know that until somebody told me that.
If you have a calico boy, you'll
You
have
got something,
A rare
you'll have a
cat.
rarity.
Come on,
Very
baby.
onto him.
Come on, girl. Come on, it's okay. Come on. Come on, girl. Come on. Come on, it's okay.
Come on.
Come on, out girl, come on.
When I went outside,
Come on.
she
You
ran
can do
over
it.
and
Hello,
meowed
girl.
at me, but
Come on.
then she
Nobody can
kind
bother
of
you. It's
looked
okay.
at me.
Come
She
on.
thought she knew you, but she wasn't sure.
Was I mistaken?
Yeah, and then it was
Come
like,
on, it's
wait a
okay.
minute.
She's pretty big too,
Yeah, she
isn't
is.
she?
She is big. She's big all over.
Where'd she go? She's there
She's
by
just
that
standing
Oh,
right
she
there.
did come in.
chair there.
Here's a picture of, that was taken up there, of Roger and Peter and Alan.
That was the day.
Yeah, that was
Remember,
the
we
day.
all
And
stood
this-
in
is
front of the
this Mildred?
sign.
And there's my son. There's my oldest son, the bald one.
Oh,
And then there's Jared. He's
oh, he's
you
back
can
there
only
before-
see half of his
Okay.
face.
And that's you, right?
That's me. Yeah.
Okay. Now, this is Elwood's sister Geraldine. And this is Aunt Dorothy's daughter, Anna.
Aren't you there, Wendy? I thought
See
you
if
were
I'm in the
there.
picture. I don't remember.
I thought Wendy was there for that.
And this is Louise, Elwood's sister Louise.
Mm-hmm.
And this is Geraldine's son, Bobby. He's right with Robert.
Now that's at the house up there.
Up
the top
there.
Yeah.
picture.
Yeah, this was taken,
That's at the sign, because
At
they
the
had just
sign,
put
Yeah,
the
that's
sign
the
up.
sign.
Yeah.
They just put the sign up here. It
yeah.
says
Brown's Farm Lane.
Brown's
Yeah,
Farm.
yeah. This is sort of more scattered
Oh,
out.
now
here.
look, Debbie.
What?
This is more scattered out, this picture is here.
What?
Look. Here's Mildred,
There, Wendy.
and that's June.
There's my-
There's Debbie and June.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And which one is that?
All right, let me look.
Oh, she'll know. I can't.
If
keep
it's
them-
one of, is it one of?
That's
I
one
can't
of the
keep-
Baltimore bunch.
Yeah, but I can't keep
Which
them
one?
straight. They all look alike to me.
Yeah.
No, that's not.
They all have dark
Was that
hair and
somebody from
brown
here?
eyes.
Yeah, that's one of Alan's kids, I think. Yep, that's one of Alan's kids.
Alan who?
My brother.
You
Oh.
have an Alan in your you have a brother, huh?
He's passed. He's passed, but I.
There's so many Alans.
And that's my youngest son, the one with the baby. And that's my oldest son, the
Wow.
bald one.
Okay.
And that's me, and that's
Gosh.
Mildred.
You've lost a lot of weight, dear. You
I
look
have.
chubby in that
Yeah, you
picture.
were
Look how
chubby.
big his face is. You're nice and thin.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, keep lying to me.
I have to plug you up a little bit.
And there's Dad,
Dad.
and there's Lena. I
I
don't
think
know.
that's the, I look like Pat, I can't see your, he is Pat. Alan's white. I'm not sure. Well,
Okay.
that one's taken at the house up there too. Up
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
taken at the house.
Yeah.
At the,
I could have sworn Wendy was there that day.
I don't remember
this
being
was
there.
taken in as you go into the lane,
Right,
and this was taken back at the house.
that's right.
So all these people went over to that house that day.
Yeah.
Well, several. I didn't go. I stayed there and, I think, washed dishes.
They put you to work.
I did that.
You were a cleanup guy. Who's the cleanup?
Yeah, I remember us all crowding together because whoever took the picture kept making us move.
Closer
You know, closer, closer, you're not in yet. Those people in the end are still cut off.
She took pictures and pictures and
And it
pictures
was-
and pictures.
And it was sort of like in front of a little ditch, so you had to be careful or you would fall in the ditch.
Don't need to go bathroom, do it right there, to the right. Anybody? You.
I'm fine.
We're good, I think.
Your pictures, you know, like. Yeah, that there's definitely was Alan, one of Alan's kids.
Okay.
Oh,
Well, she looks like a bunch more.
she looks like
The people,
Person.
one of the ones from Baltimore.
all of Mildred's kids have dark hair.
And dark
And they're-
eyes.
And they have dark skin.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, they're
sort
not
of.
fair skinned.
That's true. That's true.
Did you know any of Anna's kids other than, of course, this one was there, did any of the others come? Or was it
Here's
just
Uncle Steve's son, Lamar. That's the only boy he had, only son he has. Helen, his second wife, had a boy, which of course he probably thought of as being his too, but this here's only. Okay, here's your.
Thank you so much.
The real estate, it led up, I didn't know how to find this. I started with Peter and Roger
Uh-huh.
with their
Yeah.
track, and then I went backwards.
Yeah, that's
So
as
you're
good a
seeing-
way to do it as any.
Yeah, so you see, that's what some of this is, just going backwards.
Yeah, that's
In
good.
order to get it all on one page, sometimes I cut the page number off, but then I wrote it on there for you,
Oh,
so.
thank you.
Okay.
That's wonderful.
Better on one page than on two.
Yeah. I did,
And
I
all these papers is yours.
know.
Some that you're giving to me now, yeah, these here's mine, I
Yeah,
think.
she
Yeah,
gave you
those
the-
are
These
yours.
are mine.
Yeah.
These here's all yours. My copy machine won't do the big pages. It's just a small scanner type thing, you know. So I took some paper and went into where I work. I work for the tour board part-time. So I said, can I use your copy machine? I'll furnish the paper. Of course, they probably wouldn't let me use the paper, but I took the paper in, and that's how I got some of this way, but some of it's sort of hacked up there. That's all. And one of it was copied from the newspaper, but the big one.
You get your picture? She got it.
I have the picture.
Well,
We'll make a copy for her.
she's very
Yeah.
good at
What,
making sure I get.
and what I wanted to show you, I couldn't make a copy because it's so big.
Wow.
This is the 1900 census.
Oh, okay, I could never find anybody to help me find out, take the census.
And that's William and Mary, and see there it's Mary E.
Yes, it is. But you wouldn't have thought so back then. What year was this?
1900.
1900. And their children, Arthur, Wayne is a son.
Furlong.
They must have had nicknames. You think this is a different William
What is
Brown?
it? Is this Basil?
Yeah,
That
was
should be
Basil.
the bat.
But you know, I found two Basil Browns. Did you see in your copies? There's two Basil Browns in either the birth certificates or death certificates. No, I'll tell you what it is for Basil's children. One has a mother by the name of Zula. One has a mother by the name of Julie. And they're only like a year or months apart. And Basil is the father of both of them. And they were both Harper girls. Julie and I think they were both Harper. Look, I'll see if I can find that. It's in there. Okay, this is yours too down here.
This is yours.
This is mine. Okay, this is mine. And I don't know if there's any other information there or not. This here was yours. No,
I
wait,
made,
this
I
is
made that
mine.
for you.
Okay, yes, okay,
This-
sorry.
Is
That's
this
yours.
mine?
Yeah, that's
Okay,
yours.
that's mine.
I don't think you've got a copy over there.
No, I
But you
don't.
should have the, this is really interesting, but
This don't.
they use the nicknames for sure.
Yeah, oh, I'm
For
sure
sure.
they did.
Yeah.
And,
This
and
would be
also,
better.
Huh?
Should be
again,
better.
you
Yes, she
have to remember,
She's
the
really friendly.
census
She
taker
really is.
wrote
She-
down what he.
Nothing better too long. She wasn't sure, and she kinda looked at me
So
and jumped down
whatever
and lay
he
down.
heard,
Ground
is
rolled
that's
around a
what he
little
wrote
bit.
down.
Yeah, right, yeah, of course.
And, oh, one other thing, I know you were asking me about, you couldn't figure out when they got married. Well, this census asks how many years you've been married.
Oh, okay.
And so they said that they were married for 12 years. So
So they
That
got
would have
married
been
1888.
88, 87, somewhere around in
Okay,
there.
I need to write that down.
You've got it in your packet.
Oh, I do? Okay, okay, thank you, thank you.
So
Because
that's
I'll go
what,
back in there and see if I can find the marriage.
that's what I have been going on when I'm looking for them, that date, I'd say between 1885 and 90. That's the years that I look for.
I looked for some years, but I'm not sure what, and I didn't know how to do the census thing, and everybody was so busy. I did find one lady as I was walking out of the library, the library in Leesburg has the copy of all the Times Mirror and all this. Is that where y'all went? Thomas Balch Library?
It might have been.
Okay.
I don't
There's a
know.
lady that works there. When I talked to her as I was leaving one day, and I was late leaving, and she says, well, when you come back in, she said, here's my card. You ask for me, because I can tell you where all this information is. So I went in there one day, I believe I told you, I got there at 12 o'clock, they didn't open up to 2. So I was sitting in the car waiting for 2 o'clock, and then she wasn't available.
No.
This one lady said she's here, but she cannot come out, she's busy.
Oh.
So anyway, I tried to find what I could, which wasn't a whole lot, I knew how to get into the newspaper things and do that kind of stuff. And but she indicated that there might be wills and things there. But she didn't say, so I've got to go back in and talk to her. I'm definitely going to do that.
Okay, this is not the 1910 census,
Oh, okay.
and here they are, and it's interesting that Lena's husband's father is here. Right, they live next door.
Yeah, George. Okay, yeah, okay. Well, they did. He lived on up the mountain. As you're going to where Lena's house, last house where she lived, and where he lived, right before you get up there, you take a right, go up a little steep grade. That was his home place.
Well,
Which, if you walk up through the mountains, you and Pop walked up through the mountains there.
Yeah.
Yeah, up through the, yeah.
when the census
Ball
taker, was doing his thing, then he took that family, but then the next family he took were the Browns.
Got Pop's, Franklin F. is Pop. Charlie. They got him Charles, George.
What's
There was a
it?
James.
James what?
Cross. This is your daddy's.
Oh, I've never heard of James, and he must have got killed.
James W. Well, there was one that died really young, I think.
Must have been
It
him.
was a George.
But George.
And maybe her name was
But
Mary.
George lived right there
No, her
just
name
before you
was
get to
Lucy.
Mom's at one time.
It says
It-
Lucy on the tombstone.
it's-
That's all I'm going by. But yeah, you're right.
When, I'm telling you, when they took the census, it was sort of like a crapshoot. Because one of the Harpers, because I've also looked into the Harpers, his name was William Henry Harrison Harper. And I found him on, I think, 4 different censuses, and every census his was one of those names. Just one. One he was William, one he was Henry, one he was Harrison, and one he was WHH.
Oh, gosh.
And it took me a while to figure it out that it was the same person, because I kept seeing his wife and children, and I thought, well, they're the same names, and then suddenly it dawned on me, oh, I get it.
Yeah, you really have to be able to concentrate to know what's going on.
And then I also marked here the Legg. Do you know anything about the Legg family? Because Lena told me that her mother had a sister named Susie who married a man named Will Legg. And I could never find anything
My
out
mother's-
about them.
Yeah, she told me about her sister Susie. I've got that written down here in our family tree.
Mom's sister?
Mm-hmm.
She had a sister named Susie?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, it's here, Susie Glasscock Lay. I wrote down Glasscock as being the maiden name, but I wrote Leigh, but it's Leg,
Was that
we think.
the sister or
Let's
brother
see,
she had?
Your mom didn't know.
She don't know whether she had any more sisters or brothers? Oh,
It was,
I'll see.
it was
I'll-
her mother.
Yeah, okay.
Her mother.
It was her mother.
Yeah,
Her
I see
mother.
that. Yeah,
Her
okay.
mother.
Yeah,
She didn't know what her mother. That was her mother's sister.
yeah, okay, now.
I don't know if there's any more in that.
Okay.
See, Lucy A is what I've got to be the mother's name.
Oh, L-A-G-G, yeah.
Yeah, and it could have been. I think I probably
Could
did
you
the
give me
spelling.
a copy of that?
Of this.
Yes,
Sure.
because, yeah, that's the kind of thing that I'm looking
Okay.
forward to.
I wanted to show you too. Look under the birth certificates and see if you don't find two birth certificates with Basil being the father and
In
two different wives.
In the
two different
papers
mothers.
that you gave me?
Yeah, in the papers I gave you. I should have given them to you.
Well, let me
Well,
just show you one
oh,
more.
okay,
Alright,
yeah,
this is,
sure.
this is
Okay.
1920 now.
Oh, okay.
And here's Baz, Zula, Olivia, Mildred, and Alan. Agnes was already gone.
Yeah, she'd already moved out then. Okay. Well, now, why did those children be put over here in the home when Basil was still
I was
living?
gonna cut the grass yesterday.
And,
My theory
So I
is that
got my
he just
lawnmower out and it
couldn't
wouldn't
deal
start,
with
so
it.
I
and
threw
it
her
says in
on
that
the
article
floor. I
that
just
he
wouldn't
had
do it.
a nice house that he just whitewashed
that
and
thing
trimmed
out.
in
Those
green
old-
I
and
think,
all this.
I think back then,
Well, first,
the
first
fathers
he
couldn't
wasn't
deal
happy,
with
so I
it.
took a
Okay.
jumper.
If the mother left or
Went
she
from the battery
died,
to the
they just
starter.
couldn't deal
Would
with
they
it. They
eat?
farmed out the
Okay,
children, because
turn
I also
was
found
fine,
out that Zula was farmed out too.
But it wouldn't start. So I took the
Zula's
spark
mother,
plug out,
my
it was
theory
no
is that
spark.
Zula's mother died in childbirth.
Um,
Because her death,
so I wanted
is
to get
very
into the
close
points,
to
so I
Zula's
started
birth.
taking it apart.
I mean, within a
And
month.
this is an 18
Where
horsepower.
would Zula come in
so
here?
it's
And
big.
so Zula's father had these two children, Zula and her older
Zula
brother.
was
There's-
Basil's wife.
Okay,
The
now,
tube that goes into the
Okay?
crankcase to
And-
put the oil in.
And all of a
So I
sudden,
put
I,
that
in
Next
all
name was
off.
Harper.
the night,
And I've
let's see,
taken off
she
another
was born in
screw.
1896. In
This
1900, I
Right
found
down
her
in
in the
that hole,
census
right
too,
in
but
the
she's
crankcase.
living with
I
another
stick my
family,
finger
and
down
she's
there,
4
and I
years
can
old.
feel it.
She's listed as a servant.
You said something yesterday, I could, I
And
got a
so
little
I
thing
just
at
think
home,
that
like an
these
antenna with a
fathers,
magnet
they
on
just
it.
couldn't deal.
Probably so. Do you think the
Well, that's
Browns,
what
where
I
they
did.
went
I
to
got a mat,
live,
and they
was
just-
any relatives?
magnetized the screwdriver
I
and
tried
stuck
to
it
make,
down
to,
in there
to
and folded it.
put them together, but no, I don't think they were. And that's what
It
Lena
just-
always said
Alan,
everything.
Alan always told me
And
that,
I finally
no,
got
they were no
frustrated,
relation
put
to
everything
us, they're
back
just,
together.
their name just happened to be
Called up some
Brown.
guy
And he
and
told me all about
He said,
them,
"Come fix my lawn."
because he and his sister
I'll be out
Agnes
there.
were raised by them, pretty much.
So in the afternoon,
And,
I'm talking to this friend
Well,
of
see,
mine,
Anna,
and he said he had the same
Basil's
problem
sister
with his.
Anna, when the mother died
He
in
found
1914,
that
she wasn't very
The
old.
dead man switch
So she got
failed.
put into a home up like at Round
You know,
Hill.
there's a switch on
I
the seat.
can't remember the
there's a switch
people's
on the
name now,
handle.
your mom's told us.
Operates the blade.
That took
There's a
her and
switch on
raised
the-
her.
Yeah,
this,
yeah,
this,
I
this,
just
and
think,
that. If any of
you
them
know, maybe that was
fail,
just
then
what they
it
did.
won't
Maybe when a mother died
So
or
sure
she
enough,
left,
I
So
found
what?
this gap.
that maybe they just
One
thought
that
that the
worked
father
loose,
wasn't
so I tightened
capable
it
of
up.
taking care of children,
And when we
and
got
they
home
farmed
from
them
work
out,
yesterday,
because
we
I
cranked
found
it
that.
up. But
You
man,
know,
I'm
with
telling
with
you,
Zula
I must
was
have
like
been
that,
doing a lot of stooping and bending,
and
but I hadn't
and
done
then
it in a long time.
her
It was my
father
life.
was like that. It just it
Well-
seems like a pattern that just
Yeah.
kept happening
Well,
over
see,
and
the
over
father
again.
here had already died, and then the mother died, and Lena was really quite bitter over the fact that the boys, Basil and Stephen and all the boys, never came back to help out the girls. See, they were left home. They were the youngest. The 3 girls was the youngest in the family, and they were left home, and the boys never come back to help them at all. Let 'em, you know, they didn't. I think some
no.
colored lady down the road or something came out
Well,
and helped
just-
them out some.
It's
Yeah,
it's
okay, we want a
interesting,
copy of this.
but you know, it's hard to say why
Yeah.
that happens. Okay.
Probably for the same reason that, I don't know, why would she leave her kids in the first place, you know? She climbed out the window and ran off or something, that's what the story, as the story goes.
Betty?
So who knows?
Well, now here's a William Basil Brown. He's the father of Basil Brown.
Is that where Betty said she found
Or no.
two Basil Brown?
Yeah, this is one of them. Oh no, the child's name is William Basil Brown. Okay, so when, where is this? Oh no, this is, look. This is your father.
What is?
This birth certificate is your father.
Oh, really?
Because look. Birthday, February 15th, 1917.
Yes, it is. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Basil Brown's the father. Now they have, the mother is Julia Harper, but I bet it's supposed to be Zula.
Oh, yeah, maybe she was giving her name and it come up as, you know. Oh, isn't that funny?
Well, did Zola get the $10,000 or did the other one get the $10,000?
I never heard about the $10,000.
Was he married to two different women?
No. This has to
Well,
be.
who was he married to?
This has to be Brownie. Baz was married to Zula.
Okay, then Zola was the one that got the money, $10,000.
When he died, you mean?
Uh-huh.
I haven't heard of that.
He had some kind of, for being in the service, he had some kind of insurance policy, $10,000. Like you said back in, $10,000.
Yeah, for a lot of money back then.
That's right.
That's really something.
All right, now,
So his name
was William
was
Basil.
not Alan.
On this, but let me, now that's interesting because in the stuff that I gave her, and I gave you this too.
So his name was William and not Alan?
That's correct.
I thought I did. No, I guess I didn't
You
give
never
her.
told me that.
There's a birth certificate that I gave you.
Here's a William Brown.
Yeah.
Oh, this is
all
a
right.
death certificate. Okay.
That's Deb. That's Deb. But she said she found two. This must be the other one. Just- All right, now, this is, 14. Who would that have been? That would have been,
So the child wasn't named on this birth certificate.
Mildred? Was that Mildred? Yeah, that's Mildred's. So yeah, that's Mildred's birth certificate, and the other one is your dad's. That's interesting. Your dad's name was really William Basil Brown.
See,
Well, that changes
I
everything.
think Louise.
He's gonna change his name, and so does his kids.
I think that's where she gets confused sometimes.
think that-
This was.
Boy, that is really
That is
interesting.
really
She was
weird, and I
across,
never
of
knew
course,
that.
But now she married a
Neither
chicken.
did I.
He didn't know it either,
No.
apparently.
No,
He never
because
said
he
anything
told
like
me.
that.
He
Did he?
told me
They got
when he
killed
went in
in
the
a-
army, they asked him
in a
if he had
motorcycle accident
a
up
middle
in,
name, and he
New
said,
York City.
"Well, they always my father's name was Basil Allen, and they always called me Allen Basil. So I guess that must be it."
Oh,
That's what he told me.
That's what he told me.
Wow.
well, no wonder things get,
You know?
yeah, because even, like, back then, they weren't that careful. Now they're careful, but that's weird. That's really weird.
Okay, we figured out the mystery to the birth certificates.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, tell me.
They're both Baz, is the father.
Okay,
They have Julia, but it should be Zula.
okay, well, you know,
This-
Elwood and I sort of thought that too, maybe.
This is her father. This is Alan and Wendy's father.
His real name
They
was
named
not
him
Alan after all.
William Basil is what they named him.
Oh,
Look at the birth date.
okay, but,
The birth
oh, okay,
date,
it's William, okay.
February 15th, 1917.
17, that's his
my
birth-
dad.
that's
Oh,
his
okay,
birthday.
okay.
He must not have known that name.
So do you
You
have
didn't
this?
know?
No, I don't.
Okay.
And this is his sister Mildred.
No, that didn't come from Richmond, that came from Leesburg at the
Yeah,
courthouse.
I
Okay.
know.
Yeah, but of course, it should be the same thing. Okay, this is Mildred.
That's Mildred because her birth date was December 11th, 1914.
Okay, this is Mildred, the unknown child.
There you go.
Unknown.
Wow, we learned something
I
today.
know, it's something
Child.
big.
Who does it? Is this yours?
Yeah, she made me a
Yeah,
copy.
what name?
Basil Brown.
She
yes.
made me a copy.
Yeah, that's hers. Is
He
is
wanted-
Mildred.
he wanted-
Oh, okay. He wants to scan. Wow.
How do you want to take a picture of it for Wendy's?
Yeah. Why not?
I think pretty neat, though. You can take that picture of it, you know, a whole lot faster.
Oh yeah.
All right, here, then take that one. That's your dad. Oh, it was the most amazing thing. We went to Mississippi and Alabama last summer to look on the other side of their family.
My mom.
And we went into courthouses, and all he did was take pictures, and I kept thinking, they're never gonna turn out, they're never gonna turn out. And we got home, and sometimes the picture he took was clearer than the original.
Is that right?
It was the most amazing thing I ever saw.
That's really neat, you know.
Yeah. Is it like a digital camera or is it?
Yeah.
Is it? That's really nice.
Okay, you took a picture of this, or?
Yes, he did.
Yeah,
Yes.
Is that-
Yeah, that
And you can-
that's yours.
Oh,
but he's
okay.
got a picture of it, so which probably
Okay.
is better than that. But
But I can make these very large, and you can
oh, how great.
and see how it's bright.
Yeah.
I can change the intensity to make the print come out clearer.
Isn't that something?
So yeah, I've got a lot of tools to work with.
Yeah, that's
Really
good.
stylish.
I know, it's really totally.
Yeah, that census though tells you a whole lot too. I mean,
Yeah.
they just go by any name.
Yeah, but
I was-
like I said, you can never trust the census until you can prove it somewhere else. Because, and also, they
Yeah,
lie.
that's mine.
They lie through their teeth on the
Uh-huh.
census.
Now, have you found anything to prove the fact that William Henry Brown was part Indian?
No.
Does anybody else say that besides Mrs. Cross?
Yes.
Oh.
Well, and probably, because they heard it.
Yeah, well, I guess she heard it from someplace. I've got down here the fact that his sister was Katie Calhoun. Do you
Whose
have that?
sister?
William Henry.
No, I don't know anything about his family.
I got his sister was, Katie Calhoun.
Calhoun.
and his brother's first name is Clark.
Gosh, I don't know.
Now, I got that from Mrs. Cross, whether it's right or not, I
Well,
don't know.
I wouldn't take that then.
Well, I'm not saying it's
And
right.
I've always said about this Indian thing, I didn't,
Well, I don't know if it's true
I
or
don't
not.
think that's what's been,
Well, and let me ask you this, did you ever hear anything about that William Henry's last name was really Payne?
No.
And he deserted from the army, and he changed it to Brown, so they wouldn't catch him?
No, but that's a possibility. 'cause he was-
Mildred, Alan's sister, Mildred, always said that. She was the one who told me that his name was really William Henry Payne. And he deserted from the army. And he met Mary out west, and she was the Indian. And I said, well, then why was her name Mary Elizabeth Glasscock or Hambach if she was an Indian? But that Mildred swore that story was true.
Sure could be. I mean, I don't know.
All right. Do you have a piece of paper I can write this down?
Sure, yeah.
I didn't bring my notebook.
No, I've got
It's recorded.
Oh, that's, I still like to write things down. I don't have a pen either. What's wrong with me?
Yeah, you're
When you play the
I
discombobulated.
know, I
It's
just
all
got,
on the tape. When you
so
play the tape
excited.
back, you can hear it.
and I know what you mean. I know
Okay.
exactly what you mean.
and a pen. I don't have a pen either.
Sure.
Okay, now.
Left-handed too. I
Yep.
like that.
Okay, he had a sister.
Maybe that's the problem.
Katie,
I
watch
put
it.
down Katie Calhoun. Now, I don't know. Calhoun is the way I spelled it.
And he had a brother.
First name of Clark, Clark.
What's more?
We got plenty out here. What's more?
Okay.
No, I'm fine.
What's more?
No,
Okay.
What's more?
All right, what else?
I'm good.
What else do you know?
Uh,
Oh, let me take a picture of that page, please.
Oh, okay, well,
Just for Gren.
okay.
How far do y'all live from here?
We live in Laurel, Maryland.
Yeah, when you
They
got
live in
Hagerstown.
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 I don't know what you're gonna find there.
Oh, you know what, when I was telling you about Daniel Boone earlier, his biography I'm reading, you know that he sold or gathered up a whole bunch of ginseng from the mountains of Virginia and went down some river and used to sell
Sorry, I
his
wasn't more
ginseng and some of
prepared.
his furs
Oh,
in
that's-
Hagerstown.
I think you were plenty prepared.
Really?
Really?
I don't think I've got
got
anything else
swindled
in
there
here.
once.
I wanna look to make sure.
Figures.
Yeah, always
That
like.
must have been when
That's
he was
from
on
you
his
to
way to
me.
Boonesboro, Maryland, to visit his
Hasn't said
brother.
anything. Hasn't said anything in there about that
Well,
yet.
that might be a myth too.
And this is my family back there, so I think that's all I've got. See, we used to take Mrs. Cross every week to get her groceries and we'd eat out. I'd sit in the back seat, and as she was talking, I'd make myself little notes.
That was
That was
smart.
very wise of you.
I was trying
Very
to.
smart.
My dad would go on, and I would go,
See,
please.
Oh,
this is
Hey,
my Pop's
I
family.
love
believe
those
me, I
old
sat
I
down
know
with your
it.
dad
I know,
many
but
times and
sometimes
just-
my
he
mind
just-
would wander off, and
Go,
he'd go,
go,
you know what I
go."
mean? And I'd say, yeah, whatever. He would just go on and on and on. Now I think, gosh, I'm stupid. I find myself doing that to my own kids
the
now.
names of the offsprings,
of
but the children's names. It's not. I mean,
You know,
I
we
don't
was
think you
growing
can
up, we
understand.
used to put pudding and stuff in steel crock up there. You know, Mom and them used to put pudding and stuff.
That
in
there
the
came
thing.
from his daddy.
Now that crock today would probably bring $400.
And that red picture now came from the Browns, according to Lena.
Wow.
That belonged to the Browns.
You
But
see,
now I don't know if that's true or not, but she gave it to us.
Yeah.
But according to her, the red picture did. Now, I don't know how old that red
Aw.
picture is, if it's possible that it could have came
Well,
from
it
Mom
sure
and them, they
looks
used to
old
throw them
enough, huh?
old crocks and things away, you know? But now,
Be
boy,
darned.
you're
But
talking about-
the crock belonged to his father's family. Parents, but the red picture belonged to the,
And the fact that it has writing on makes it more valuable to you.
yeah.
Yeah, we watch Antique Roadshow.
I've got a note that she gave us when she gave us that, just with her signature from her and Henry, her son. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't
Did
even
have a
know.
pair of,
Crocs.
but the cat broke one of them.
Oh,
Yeah, they were
Set
matching.
them down in the
yeah.
basement, that's a pair, and the cat broke one.
oh.
And our cat's gotten up there too, but she never knocks anything off. She'll go around.
She has been up there?
Yeah,
I haven't seen her up there.
I have. When I had the other stand over here that was taller,
Oh.
she jumped down on top of it, but she never knocked nothing off. But I have seen her.
Cats don't miss much.
Oh,
That great
no.
cat we have at
proud.
the hotel, he's
He's clumsy.
no matter where he
He don't
goes, he
even
knocks
care.
something over.
He'll
He just plows right through it.
He just
Yeah.
does not even care.
He doesn't care at all.
I think I gave you the obituaries, didn't I, of all the ones I think I had found.
I'm sure you do.
I don't think I found,
Well, why did they? How did he end up getting to be called Alan? if
Alan,
his name
from-
was William.
Probably because his dad's middle name was Alan, right?
it
That's
seemed
where
to
the
me like
Allen
they-
came
everybody
from.
named everybody after everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Louise is Louise Elizabeth, and I figure Louise was really Mary's middle name, I think.
That's a good
You know, and-
supposition.
But I never once heard him ever say that his name was William and not Alan.
I don't think he knew.
Probably didn't even know.
I don't think he knew that.
And Anna's middle name is Elizabeth, so that's where I think somehow she got confused on the middle names, but I don't know. And Henry, you got a brother named William Henry, and of course there was a William in there.
Maryland,
And Alan, you've got a brother Alan.
Roger Lou Allen.
I don't know where that came in at.
Where did Elwood come from? You tell me.
I don't
that
know, but I saw Elwood when I was at the
I wanna know where-
newspapers.
I
I
wanna know
did see
where
Elwood,
I wanna know
and
where
I
that
saw
comes
him spelled with two L's too. Elwood's birth certificate says that he was spelled with 2 L's, and his first name is really James, not Elwood.
Oh.
But we've always known it as Elwood James, but they say it's James Elwood.
Yeah,
When we got his birth certificate from Richmond, and they said he was born on August the 2nd, but I got him to send me the original rather than copying it off. And when they sent me the original, you know how they used to make the ones with a line under it, you know, it sort of does look like a 2. And that's where they've gotten a 2 from. It wasn't written very clearly as a 1. But as somebody graduating from school now would probably not even use that old figure of a 1. I don't know if they do or not.
Probably not.
I
I
don't know.
know, when Zula married her second husband, John Moppiker, he was Catholic. And, or actually, I think before she married him, from what Alan told me, and Mildred too, since he was Catholic and his mother, and he was German, and his mother was also in this country, and I think his mother told him that he couldn't marry this woman unless she was a Catholic, and so Zula converted. And then after that, and they got married, then he took the children, because Alan told me he took the children to the local Catholic church in Hagerstown and had them baptized as Catholics. And all of the little pieces of paper where they were baptized, the baptismal certificates, their names are totally different too. He was baptized as John Allen because the husband's name was John Moppinger. And I think Olivia was baptized, I think, as Hannah Olivia, and I don't think that was her name. Mildred was baptized,
Wasn't her middle name Hannah?
well, maybe she took it after
But
being
don't
baptized in the
when
church.
you get baptized in the Catholic Church, don't they give you they give you another name?
I don't know.
Well,
I think that's what happens.
but I just thought it was really interesting
That
because
is.
I went to the church and talked to the priest, and because I wasn't a Catholic, he wouldn't let me look at the records. So I had Mr. Brown go and say, I know my birth certificate is in here, and can you look for me? And so he found, the priest said, okay. And so then the priest looked for him and found it, and then that's when I found out it was John Allen, because, you know, I was looking for Allen B, and I never would have found it in that case. And so then I had Mildred do the same thing. I had Mildred write to him and ask for her birth certificate, and so he did
Yeah, I
that.
think Agnes went
for
down and
her.
got hers too, because that was the only birth
She did,
certificate she
yes,
had.
she did that too, and I have a copy of that too. But I just thought it was really interesting that none of their names were the same as the ones that they went by.
That is interesting.
That's
Okay, I want to write down the names for my pictures too.
Your father
Mm-hmm.
had many aliases.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, that was Mildred and June on those pictures.
Mm-hmm.
There's a 2 that I didn't know. I knew Alan and Debbie was also on there. Was you on there? I think.
No,
I was
But on
on
that
No, I don't
other
think Wendy
picture-
was on there.
she was on one of the pictures.
Oh, she was?
I was on
Okay.
the one with
Wasn't she?
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
that's right. The
my
small
dad and
picture.
I
Lena.
don't think, no.
She was
Okay.
in the one.
Well, okay, then I'll.
And Agnes
And
was.
then Agnes was on another picture.
Oh,
That's the
Agnes.
one I was in with Agnes, right? Agnes.
Oh,
and-
okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And then
Agnes,
there
okay,
was
on
one
another
with
picture,
you
okay.
and Julie and
That was the
Sarah.
that was the one with Agnes. Right?
Agnes, and, yeah.
Okay.
She's
Well,
the one with the. She's
That,
the lady
that's the
with the
picture you
blonde
got,
hair.
right? Is that the picture?
Yeah, you got
You
a
got
copy
the
of it.
picture, right?
Did I give I gave you.
I think
I'm
so.
not sure.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
If I didn't,
Yeah.
I can.
Yeah,
Where's that photograph?
I it's in
Was it
here.
in there?
It's in one of them. Let's see.
Oh, the one you gave her oh, I'm sorry.
That's
The one
okay.
you gave her the copy of?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you take a copy of this, or did you want it?
Oh, yeah,
Oh.
you wanted. I mean, I didn't know if that was your only, I didn't know
I-
if
This
that
is
was
my
your
only
only.
one.
I have that.
Oh,
but
do
It
you
was
have
in a
it?
sticky
Oh, you have
book
it?
like
Okay.
that.
Good,
Yeah,
make
green.
it,
Okay.
I don't, that's, well, maybe it was in this one. I think you might be right.
let's see. It was a small picture there, right? Because here's a big one. I'm sure it's in here.
Well, that's okay. I think I can figure them out
Well.
now. I believe.
I know. The blank space. I didn't-
Here,
Oh.
here it is.
There it is, okay.
Oh, okay. Okay, and that's your daughter. Okay, I didn't have that. Okay.
Yeah. this is Wendy,
And Julie.
Okay,
and this is Wendy.
Wendy, okay,
And
That's
of course
Julie.
Agnes, you know,
Julie.
that was Agnes with the blonde hair, right?
Julie,
And this is Sarah, Sarah.
the small one is Sarah,
I'm taking
the
that,
small one,
lay down there.
okay.
Lay down there.
And this is Agnes.
Okay, so we start out with Alan,
Go back and jump in the bed.
and then we start out with Agnes,
Yeah,
and then Lena,
yeah,
and then
Wendy,
Wendy,
and then Sarah,
Sarah,
and Julie.
and Julie, okay, in that order, okay, and that's that picture,
And
okay.
Agnes is Agnes Maffeo. Did you know her last name?
No, no, LaFeo,
M-A-F-A-L-E.
M-A-F-A-L-E,
Wasn't her, didn't she, wasn't her name
F-A-L-E.
Curtin?
Agnes.
Oh, yeah.
She had a lot of
She-
last names.
Agnes Brown Maffeo Curtin.
Yeah, another one with a lot of
Curtin,
aliases.
C-U-R-T-I.
Well, it must be like Aunt Anna then, she was married 5 times.
We're
She
not
was married a
sure.
lot.
We're not
Agnes.
sure how many
Now,
times
she
Agnes
has a
was
son.
Yeah, it's,
She has a son, and his name is Michael Brown. And he's a total loser. Just,
Oh,
I mean,
that's
he's
right.
got-
Them people you was talking
oh,
about.
he's got the intelligence of a tree. And so when she developed dementia and all kinds of medical problems, and
She was still
for
smarter
years,
than Michael.
for
with
ye-
dementia.
and she was still, and for years and years she was a pack rat. She just gathered up stuff, and
and cats.
and cats, and she got to the point where she couldn't take care of herself, and she couldn't take care of her house, and she collected stuff for probably 25 years, and I don't know how the neighbors got involved, but I think one of the neighbors turned her into social services, and somebody from social services came by and saw her, and she couldn't take care of herself, so they took her out of her house and put her into a public rest home.
Which was
You
probably
might
best.
you'd straighten me out here if I'm getting wrong.
Where did
You
she-
know as much
Now,
as
where
this.
does she live?
She's dead.
Oh,
But
she's
she was
dead.
the one from Rhode Island.
From Rhode Island. Okay,
Yeah.
Agnes
Yes.
is from Rhode Island.
Yes.
Yeah, and she lived in Pawtucket,
Okay.
Rhode Island, and they took her to a public facility in Providence. And that's when Michael called me up one night and said, "We don't know what to do. We want to get my mother back in her house. They've taken my mother and they put her in an institution and blah, 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 and this and that." So did you and I go up the first time?
Yeah. We went many times. We spent a whole summer going
We-
to
we
Pawtucket
Spent a whole summer commuting between here and Rhode Island.
on the weekends. Because we both
A
worked.
lot's on the weekends, but sometimes during the week because we had to go up, we had to arrange for a lawyer, we had to get court dates, we had to go to court, blah, 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 blah.
Oh, and
This and
remember
that,
the
and-
first? Do you remember the first time we went there? It was July 4th, and so we found the lawyer, and so he said, "Well, are you going to go back tonight?" And we said, "No, we thought we'd spend the night." And he said, "You want to stay in Pawtucket on the 4th of July?"
Why would anybody want to stay in Pawtucket over the 4th of July?
And we went, "Well, we do."
Well, that's a long trip.
Yes, it is a
automatic.
very long
Yeah,
trip.
yeah.
So we hired a lawyer, we paid for the lawyer, her son and his wife were just total jerks. We visited her many times and finally made all the arrangements to have, well, her son couldn't be awarded guardianship of her because he was a criminal. He has a criminal. He has a rap sheet that's this long. I mean, he's a crook. So
Really that bad, huh? I mean,
yeah, and then Agnes hates her son's wife. What's her name? Joan.
Oh,
Agnes hates Joan. They just hate each other. But the judge said the only thing I can do is make her guardian, make her the guardian because you live too far away, and he's a criminal, so
So
he's
it'd be
out.
Joan.
So it's Joan. So Joan takes over, and although Joan doesn't have a record, she's as bad as he is. I mean, she's a thief too, and she's going through her money like it's water. So anyway, they've got the house. They hired people to come in and then clean it up at least enough to satisfy the government people to let her out of this institution and let her live back at her own house. And during the end of this process, she got back into her house, and then that's when I fell out with all of them. I washed my hands of the lot.
Yeah.
And then right after Christmas of that year, Michael called and said that his mother had died. And it was like a day or two after Christmas. Because, after Christmas he went to visit her, and she wouldn't answer the door, and he walked in, and there she was sitting in her chair dead. So she died of congestive heart failure. And
But that was a summer.
yeah, then that's when we went back for the funeral.
Yeah, and we took your mother, because your
We
father
took-
wouldn't go.
And Julie went too.
We took my mother and Julie,
That's right.
and I
Yeah, I remember that.
got a ticket on the way up.
And you'll never forget that.
And that should have been an omen to you.
It was an omen, and I just said goodbye. I don't ever
Your
want to
dad
see you
didn't want
again.
nothing to do
That's
with
it.
But
No, and Mildred and my dad, and while all this was going on, Mildred was saying, "Stay away from them
Yeah,
up
they
in
were all
Rhode
warning-
Island. You're gonna be
warning
sorry."
Of all those people.
And she was right.
Yeah, but you hate to sometimes turn your back on people,
Yeah.
It's just hard to do sometimes.
He always told me she was like real eccentric and had to if there was a group of 20 people, she would have to stand out out of all them 20. She was like always drawing attention to herself.
Well, Lena more or less said that too, but Lena also said she was always had a big mouth evidently. I think she's told things that Lena said wasn't true, but we got a feeling it was true, but she just didn't want it to come out,
Yeah.
Because the Browns was really
The first time
notorious
I
up
met
here
her.
on this mountain.
The first time I met her, which might be the only time I met her, was when you and Debbie got married.
yeah, at our wedding.
Yeah.
And here come this woman with this white hair, blondish white hair, and the brightest lipstick on. It was like some kind of fluorescent pink. And Wendy
Where's that
introduced me to her. She said, "Oh, come here, darling," and smacked me on the side of the face.
Got lipstick all over
I had
his
lipstick
face.
all over me, and I was like, I gotta go to the bathroom. Stuff
Well,
was
she's-
wiped
she's-
off of there, and I was like, man.
She doesn't have the red lipstick on, but she's pretty
But-
wild looking, and
Yeah, she wore false eyelashes.
she
Yeah.
false
She-
eyelashes.
Yeah, great
Could have
big,
had it on,
huge-
there's a shadow going
But-
down over her face.
I'll never forget that because she did. She had on this lipstick all over her face
This-
and
yeah,
this
she
bright blue
couldn't see.
eyeshadow
And she tried to put her lipstick
this
on, and she missed.
big
And
hat.
she just had these big red lips.
And I had invited people from my office to the wedding, and when I came back to work, this one guy that I worked with said to me, "Who was the broad?" And I knew exactly who I knew exactly who he was talking
That
about.
was, it was really, really super hot and humid that day. I'm not used to wearing button-up shirts and ties and stuff, it's just not my bag.
You need
And I had to go get a spacer, because Ingram's in Hagerstown, it's a men's clothing shop. They didn't have any shirts big enough to fit around my neck. So I had to get a spacer. And I bought a tie and a suit. And when they were getting married and this guy was going through his motions there, I'd think he was done. And then he'd say, "Let us pray." It's going, man, please let us pray.
It's a long ceremony.
I was so
It
hot,
seemed
sweat
like-
poured
It
down
seemed
my
like it
face.
just went by so
And
fast.
I mean, it was
to me.
miserable,
Well,
stinking
yeah,
hot.
to
whole
you.
day. And later people told me how hot a day it was.
Yeah.
I never felt it.
Is
You're
that
cool
right?
as a cucumber.
That whole day I was perfect. I wasn't
That
hot
is so
or
nice.
anything.
It's
Wait to
been
get back in
downhill
it.
ever since.
I couldn't wait to get
But
back
it
in
was
that
your
mansion.
day.
It was your day.
It was
It was
my
a perfect
day,
day for
and
you.
it was perfect.
That's good.
Yeah.
Thought
was gonna die.
That was many years ago.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, the sweat was pouring. And I was thirsty.
Okay.
Oh, my.
But I was gonna go and look up something. What did I say I was gonna, oh, okay, we know that was the son Basil. I'm still gonna go in and see if I can find some more death certificates and go through the marriage licenses. Now that I know more of the dates,
Mm-hmm.
maybe I can,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, that's good. And you know, on the way here, I gave Wendy a packet too today with the same stuff in, and she was talking in the back seat, and I was thinking about things, and it made me think. And I gave you the information in the packet. Lena kept telling me that she knew that Baz and Zula got married. She kept saying on her birthday, and she said I was probably about 7 or 8 years old. And I went to Loudoun County, and I went to Faulkner County, and at one point she said, well, you know, I think maybe they went to Washington, because evidently that was a big thing back then, to go to Washington and get married. And so I went to the DC courthouse, and I couldn't find anything. And so I don't know why, one day I thought, well, Montgomery County's right across that river.
Rockville.
And so I went there, and there it was. I found
That's where Pop and
the
his
marriage
mom got married.
certificate. And so, just thinking today, I'm wondering if Zula and Baz didn't do the same thing.
It's
I mean, or
hopeless,
William Henry and Mary didn't do the same thing.
because that's where his mom and dad got married, was in Rockville.
Yeah, see, it makes sense. It makes perfect sense.
I bet they all did.
Probably. Especially, you know, like Zula and Baz. Zula was only 14 when she got married. And her dad told me that Zula's father caught them a couple of times and made her go home. and he said, but finally he didn't catch them, and they did.
But you know, that wasn't unusual back then to get married when you was 14.
But it's interesting too, when I was looking at the records, actually I went to the Maryland State Archives and I found out those records there, but they went one day and Baz made the mistake of telling the clerk that he was only 20, not 21, and at that time in Maryland a man had to be 21 to get married. And so written across the paper it says, denied on account of age. And so they came back the next day. They snuck out again the next day, and he had a piece of paper signed, allegedly, by his parents, giving him permission to get married. And on the marriage certificate it says he's 20, but it says she's 18 and she was only 14. But the thing that got me was the signatures of his parents looks exactly like his handwriting.
They wrote himself a note.
So
Sure it was.
I think that, you know, he pulled a fast one
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, let's say so. Yeah. Oh, I bet you it was a lot of fast ones pulled with the Browns.
You're probably right about that.
The girls and the boys.
I'm sure.
You know, a boy I worked with, he said when he was in high school, I guess his senior year, they sent paperwork home to be filled out by his parents, and he did it all himself. Formed his mother's signature and his father's signature, and whenever he wanted a day off of school, he'd write himself a note and take it in the next day. And he said they never said one thing ever.
Well, did
That was Herman.
William Henry, did he have a sawmill?
That's what Lena told me.
Yeah, that's what he got hurt on the sawmill or something.
Yeah.
Well,
But
I don't know.
and now did she tell you? That's when she told me that they thought he was going to die, and 2 of his brothers and a sister came to visit him
So he had
because
2 brothers.
they thought he was going to die. And she said the brothers looked just like him, but she couldn't remember what the sister looked like. And that's all. That's the only time she ever saw any of his family, and that's all she knew about it. So this thing that you're telling me about, his sister's name was Susie and a brother named Clark, that's new. She never told me that.
Well, see, it may not be true, but that's the name she gave me. So
Why
we
do you
don't
keep
know.
coming up that may not be
Okay.
true, Bert?
Well,
Well,
'Cause I know your mother.
Yeah,
I knew your
I
mother
know.
quite well,
I-
probably better than what her own kids knew her.
Yeah.
and,
I agree
and
with that
plus,
100%.
plus, they forget things too, and they think they're telling you what is
Yeah.
true, but
Maybe-
really they're not telling you. I mean, and they don't even realize they're not telling you.
Well, yeah, I sure understand.
Yeah, I
that.
think that's true. Yeah, I agree with you.
I know. but
Well, do you think they ran moonshine? I mean, a spring right there at the house.
Probably.
Oh, I know, there's
And
Brandon
that's
told me a
In
lot of
this
stories.
county, yeah.
He said when the government, what they used to call them guys,
The revenuers.
the revenuers would come, they'd gather up this whiskey that they made. He said they'd take it out across that bridge, out on that island that's in the river, and they
At
put it
Point
out
of
there.
Rocks.
At Point of Rocks.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
they carried it quite a ways then.
I
Yeah,
remember
he's-
that story.
Yeah, he said they'd have to get rid of it, they'd find it.
Oh,
He
yeah.
said them guys were really smart about finding it so they could smell
So they
it.
knew when you go over at Point of Rocks, there's an island in the
Yeah.
middle of
Yeah.
the river.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah.
he was friends with the farmer that owned that island and then farmed it.
Uh-huh.
And so that's where they take the moonshine and hide it on that island.
Yeah, he told me.
That's where
several times
Billy's-
about that.
Billy grew up on that island, right?
What was their last name?
Carter, Billy
Oh, 'cause
Carter.
I don't know if
He's
it'd be the same one.
about 65 years old.
Not the one I know.
Billy is.
Wow.
But he grew up on the island.
Yeah,
But I mean, I don't know who had it before him or nothing about that.
He
It would
didn't
be
have a brother, Jimmy did.
Jimmy Carter.
Jimmy Carter. Oh no, I don't think so.
That's when they made the
Oh,
boy
I see where
here.
you're coming from. Now. Jimmy Carter. Yeah. No. No, I don't
I have to
think
show you some of my pictures of playing volleyball and softball with Jimmy Carter.
Oh.
The famous.
The real
one.
Jimmy
The
Carter.
real
president.
Jimmy Carter.
President.
Yeah, I think he's a great man, the real Jimmy Carter. I do.
Yeah.
I think
He
he's.
got a
He's a
bad
great
deal,
humanitarian,
historically
yeah.
speaking.
Yeah, well, maybe so, but I think he's somebody that's really likable and
Yeah,
trustworthy.
I think he came
and
up as being an honest.
too honest
guy.
probably for the job.
Yeah. He didn't
And then-
have that many skeletons in his
And
closet
then he
like
hit
the rest
Washington,
of them.
and that was a big shock.
Yeah. Yeah, but I just like the man. I like his wife too. I think she's
Rosie,
yeah, I think she's a very nice lady.
And we used to, remember Pie?
Oh,
We used to
can never forget
We used to go
that.
down to Plains, and I worked with a guy. His name was Pie Blasco, and he was about the same age as my father, I guess. He was a lot older than I was, and the mother, Miss Lillian,
Miss Lillian.
Miss Lillian would get Pie off to the side and slip him some money and say, "Go get me a little bottle of something. You know the boy doesn't allow hard stuff in the house."
Was that Jimmy's mother?
Yeah,
Carter's
yeah,
mother?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Oh, y'all visited in the plains?
Well, I worked at the White House.
Oh, did you? Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What did you do at the White House?
I worked for the Voice of America. I was a broadcast engineer, so I would set up all the radio broadcasts wherever he would go
Yeah,
all over
right.
the world. And
Well, that would be interesting.
when he'd have a function on the South Lawn, like at the 4th of July, we'd go and I'd take my family and we'd sit on the lawn, South Lawn of the White House, and watch the fireworks. And before that, there'd be a.
I wasn't married to him then.
This is the first,
I didn't get to
first
do
one.
that.
And they'd have a volleyball game, so we'd play volleyball with Jimmy Carter, and my son, the bald-headed one, he would go up and play in Amy Carter's treehouse. There.
You got a lot of good memories.
So when we'd go to when he'd go to Plains, when he'd go back home, there's a softball field down there. He'd play softball, so we'd all go out and have teams and play softball. It would be Jimmy Carter and the Secret Service against all the newsies. I was a newsie.
And it was funny, a few years ago, we happened to be in Atlanta and we went to Plains because I said, well, I want to see it. So we went down there and we were driving around this little town and we came on the softball field and he looked at it and he went, It's a lot smaller than it used to be.
And look how tall those trees are. Those trees weren't that tall when I.
That's what time does.
That's how you remember,
Yeah,
remember things, yeah.
it's funny. Well, are we ready to go?
I guess so.
Well, sure have enjoyed your visit.
Yeah.